The Russian Sleep Experiment. In the waning days of World War II, deep within a clandestine Soviet facility buried beneath the frozen Siberian tundra, a group of scientists embarked on an experiment that would haunt the annals of history. The year was 1947, and the Soviet regime, desperate to gain an edge in psychological warfare, authorized a study to test the limits of human endurance without sleep. The experiment, shrouded in secrecy, was conducted in a sealed underground bunker, its location known only to a select few. 5 political prisoners, deemed expendable by the state, were selected as test subjects. They were promised freedom in exchange for their participation, though none would ever see the light of day again. The men, identified only by numbers, were locked in a gas-tight chamber equipped with one-way mirrors, microphones, and a primitive ventilation system. The scientists planned to keep them awake for 30 days using an experimental stimulant cyanogas, a stimulant gas designed to disrupt the body's natural sleep cycle. The chamber was sparse, with only cots, a toilet, and a small table. The air was thick, recycled through vents that hummed ominously. For the first few days, the subjects seemed normal, chatting and laughing despite their confinement. The gas was odorless, tasteless, but its effects were immediate. By day 4, the men's eyes grew bloodshot, their voices hoarse. They paced the chamber like caged animals, their movements erratic. The scientists, observing from behind the mirrors, noted the first signs of distress. Subject 3 began muttering to himself, his fingers twitching uncontrollably. On day 6, the screams began. Subject 2, a wiry man with sunken cheeks, clawed at his own arms until they bled, shrieking about the shadows that move when I blink. The others tried to restrain him, but their own strength was waning. The gas was relentless, burning away their ability to rest. By day 10, the chamber was a cacophony of whispers, sobs, and sudden, unprovoked laughter. Subject 1 stared at the mirror, unblinking, as if he could see the scientists through the glass. His lips moved silently, forming words no one could decipher. The scientists, led by Dr. Ivan Petrov, a gaunt man with a penchant for cruelty, were undeterred. They increased the gas concentration, believing the subjects would adapt. Instead, the men deteriorated further. By day 15, Subject 4 stopped eating, claiming the food was watching him back. He sat in a corner, rocking, his eyes wide and unseeing. The others followed suit, their minds unraveling. Subject 5 began tearing at the walls, leaving bloody fingerprints, convinced he could dig to the other side of the dark. The air in the chamber grew heavy with a sickly sweet smell, though no source was found. The microphones picked up whispers of a language no one recognized, spoken by all 5 men in unison at night. The scientists, now uneasy, debated stopping the experiment, but Petrov insisted they continue. "We are on the verge of a breakthrough," he said, his voice trembling with ambition. On day 20, the lights in the chamber flickered. The scientists assumed a power surge, but the subjects froze, staring at the ceiling. Subject 3 whispered, "They are here," and pointed at nothing. The others nodded, their faces pale, their eyes darting to corners where the light didn't reach. The one-way mirrors began to feel less secure to the observers, who swore they saw reflections of faces that weren't there. By day 25, the chamber was a nightmare. Subject 2 had gouged out his own eyes, screaming that he could see them better now. Subject 1 sat cross-legged, humming a tuneless song, his skin unnaturally pale, almost translucent. The others were catatonic, their bodies twitching as if animated by an unseen force. The microphones captured a low, guttural hum that seemed to come from the walls themselves. The scientists, now sleepless themselves, reported headaches and fleeting visions of figures in the shadows. On day 30, the experiment was terminated, not out of mercy, but because the chamber's door was found ajar. No one could explain how it had opened. The scientists entered, their boots echoing in the silent bunker. The subjects were gone. The carts were empty, the walls smeared with incomprehensible symbols drawn in blood. The ventilation system was still running, but the air felt wrong, thick, with an unplaceable dread. Petrov, pale and shaking, clutched his notes, muttering about the threshold of the void. The official report claimed the subjects died of heart failure, their bodies cremated per protocol. But whispers among the staff told a different story. The men had vanished, leaving behind only their shadows, which lingered in the chamber for weeks, moving when no one was looking. The facility was abandoned, sealed shut, its records buried in classified archives. Yet those who worked there never slept soundly again, haunted by the echo of that guttural hum and the feeling of being watched by something that had crossed the threshold. To this day, the bunker remains locked, its location erased from maps. But in the Siberian nights, locals report strange lights flickering beneath the ground and whispers carried on the wind, words in a language no one understands, spoken by voices that should not exist.